Do you treat your dog as part of the family? Well, so do we. So why not celebrate your pup's birthday with the ultimate party box? Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Party Pup Info, and let us make your pup's party or any celebration perfection.
So many legends in your career. Which wrestler would you say was your closest friend?
Every era was different. When I say every decade was different, probably superstar Billy Graham. If you want to say if anybody, superstar Graham. I met him in Houston, Texas, and then when he came to New York, he was a bodybuilder, and I went to the World Bodybuilding Federation, took pictures of him, and then I would pick him up at the airport and drive him to Boston and Providence and Connecticut and wherever. That was probably the guy. But then I was close with Steve Austin. I was close with The Rock. I was close with a lot of people in different times. The Grand Wizard in the early in the 70s into the early 80s until he unfortunately passed. Friends with the Wizard, who then introduced me to the Sheik in Florida. I see got the picture with the Rock. I remember him. He came up to me when he first came into the WWF, and he says, "I know you my whole life. You photographed my grandfather. You photographed my father. If there's anything I can do for you ever, please, you gotta ask me." But I didn't need to ask him. I was okay. I'm not saying I know everything, but it was his offer. And then every time he's seen me since then, and I was taken at the Time 100. He was one of the Time 100 greatest celebrities of that era. Mm-hmm. I believe that was 2-3 years ago. And when I saw him again, he gives me a hug. Every time he sees me, he makes sure they ask, "How am I doing? Do I need anything? And what do I want?"
We recently lost Scott Hall. Your memories of Scott Hall? I saw a photo with you at the beginning of Scott's career. What's your memories of the great Razor?
Well, he was I knew him as Scott Hall with Kurt Hennig, and I remember taking him after the matches. I took him to a place called Shout, which was a 60s, 70s club in 47th Street in the city. And I took him all around, took him to the Carnegie Deli. I took him to a bunch of places after the matches, and we just formed a bond. He was just a great, great guy. Then he became Razor Ramon. Oh yeah, people say he had an attitude, he had this, he had that, but to me, he was very nice, and I reciprocated. We were really friendly, and I felt really bad. You know, I don't want to say too much, but it's unfortunate what happened to him.
Oh yeah.
To me, he was a great guy. He lived his part. He loved what he was doing. He was sensational. Really, really nice guy.
Are you friendly with Billy Graham currently? Do you still speak to Superstar?
I speak to him occasionally, but we're not. We have lost touch, so to say.
Okay.
That's it. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's had different. He's had a lot of different things, injuries and different problems that he's had, and we are no longer close like we were. Okay. But if I were to see him or he were to see me, we'd still be tight.
Do you think Billy is kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like ruining his legacy with his bitterness over the last 10 years?
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely do.
We kind of feel that way too.
Do. And like we drifted apart for that kind of reasons. I mean,
really?
But yes, he had a legacy, and he was great at what he did when he did it. He was the prototype of Hulk Hogan. I mean, in all honesty, he was Hulk Hogan before Hulk Hogan. He had the pythons. He had the 26-inch pythons, and a lot of people copied from him, including the governor that you're going to have on your show in a couple of weeks. Who copied Superstar Graham. At that time, a lot of people did. And prior to Superstar, there were very few wrestlers who had a muscular physique like that. There was Earl Maynard and maybe Rocky Johnson. Always had a great body. But the wrestlers at that time were not known for their physique, for their body. They were a lot of them were heavy, and whatever, out of shape in characters. That was what wrestling was. And I think Superstar is the one that kind of changed it to the more muscular look.
Do you think it was wrong to take the belt off him? Because he always bitches about that to this day.
He bitches about it, but you know what? Everything has its time. They could have could they have gone longer with him? Oh, definitely. People were cheering him. And to what I know, the McMahons didn't know how to control him. They didn't know what they can do with him. They were afraid. They were afraid. They had something that was going to be bigger than what they are. You know, it's Mr. McMahon Sr. and Vince Jr.
Yeah. So you were in Madison Square Garden all those years. We had Bob Backlund in studio. We have this great respect for Backlund.
Oh, yeah.
But, he got a bad reputation saying that he couldn't carry a card. You were in those Garden matches. You saw the crowd. Did you think Backlund...
The people didn't come to see the undercard. They came to see the main event.
I agree.
The undercard was the icing on the cake.
Right.
That was the extra. But all during that era, and I want to pick 74, 5, 6, 7, 8, WWF. They used to sell out the Garden. Then they used to sell out the Felt Forum on our screen to watch it. So it wasn't like it wasn't that big. MSG once a month was the pay-per-view, so to say. And they used to advertise, if you don't come, you ain't going to see it. You had to be there.